Hey, this is Devin with Homeschool House Calls, and we're visiting two mamas today, but we're going to talk with Michelle. If you have watched all the episodes, you'll know that I talked to Michelle and Tasha at the beginning of the year. Both were doing some type of public school at home, and so we're catching up today, and they're telling me how the year went, and we're going to have some fun. As y'all know, I do Homeschool House Calls, work with traditional homeschooling, I've worked with distance learning, public school at home, all the different facets. I love it all. Mama's had my heart. So anyway, so tell me how your year went.
Initially stressful. I had the mindset of I'm going to do it like the school, and I understand, and I'm going to turn that in my classroom. I have it laid out perfect and rigid, and I couldn't have been further from the truth. That was so wrong.
So how did it work? What happened?
Well, I kind of had the mind frame of I have a middle schooler, and in my head I saw myself being very intimately involved and controlling a lot. And I learned real quick that a middle schooler from an elementary schooler to a homeschool thing, totally different worlds.
Yeah.
Picking my battles was one of the biggest hurdles.
And that's not unusual. Even with my kids, I have one middle schooler who will be a teenager. She'll be 13 this year. And I've had 3 other ones, and I learned really quick that you have to kind of work with middle schoolers different. You have to involve them in the decision-making process and have them own their work. That was a change for me. I mean, the first year Cole started high school, I kind of let him pick out his curriculum, and that was scary because you're used to being completely in control. And then you're kind of trusting this kid to evaluate curriculum and what they want to do. But I found that there was so much less fighting with him. And I learned that if we found ways to laugh.
Find your funny.
Find your funny, because it diffuses so many teen situations. And
we had to break the mold, and the initial process of the breakaway was hard. It was a definite battle. One of the biggest things that I think K-12 needs to do is, if you're starting in the middle of the school year, that's even harder than starting at the beginning of the school year and being a brand new online learning with the K-12 programs. Is there needs to be a mentor mom, and to say, you need to be watching all of these things, like your progress percentages. You get a flood of emails that are so much that are keeping you informed. You kind of learn to pick out when the red flags are there. Hovering over my child and watching everything that was going on with a middle schooler is a bad idea. I learned to cast the computer onto my TV, and I'm literally watching everything she's doing, but I'm not invading her space.
Yeah.
And when I see a bad habit, I'll find an opportunity to address it in a non-confrontational way, because we all know teenagers, one of their first things they want to do is, you're wrong, Mom, about everything. So, another thing was their learning environment. At that age, my daughter has ADHD, so that comes with its own trials and tribulations, and they're far more willing to cooperate with things when they have a voice, and they get to choose what works for them. Because initially, here is my black desk in a quiet room with minimal distractions, with a comfortable chair that's orthopedic, but she didn't have the room to, that was a good environment for me.
Yeah.
Not her. So I had to learn a lot about her. And she's the type of kid, give me a beanbag chair or my bed and a table that goes over it, and I want a little bit of music in the background, her mind works so much better, and there's a lot of distractions. And I guess they've learned to deal with 50 million things going on. I need to do 1, 2 things, just a few things at a time. Yeah. And she can have 20. They're almost superhuman. My husband also, same thing. And they're almost superhuman. It's a talent, not a disability, even though.
Yes. I'm an ADD girl.
It's a talent.
I thrive under a fast approaching deadline.
I do
That's how it
too,
works.
but again, I'm gonna do a couple of things. I'm gonna do it so well. I'm gonna overkill it. I'm a super overachiever, and so is she, but in her own way. And I'm learning to dance to the beat of her drum too.
So let me ask some questions about K-12. You used, was it Connections? Or which one did you use?
K-12, it's the
There's
Destinations Career Academy.
Career Academy.
Yeah, Destinations Career Academy. That's the one that she was available. I guess that was some of it because we were mid-year.
Yeah.
The program was difficult at first to figure out what is what and what to watch for and keep track of. And again, the casting was a dream, and my husband figured that one out.
Yeah.
Watch without invading space, setting guidelines and boundaries, but giving them the room to find out what the consequences are when you break that rule, instead of trying to
Which is
prevent
a
them
good
from
thing
doing
and
it.
something I always suggest with homeschool parents, because one thing I did is when I became high schoolers, I moved to having a checklist, and I would make them a checklist, and they chose when they did what during the week, which is very hard in the beginning. It was a nail biter for me because they don't get things done on time, and you can't expect them to. But now, as they went through high school, they get better and better at it. My 2 oldest, Cole had did fabulous in college this year. This was his first year. He did fabulous. I didn't have to step in at all. He managed everything without flubbing, which is amazing because he was not that way during high school. There was a lot of hair pulling when he was in high school.
That's an interesting thought that you got there. As a mom and as now a homeschooler, one of the fears that I had was I'm looking at how the education system is working today and how it worked when I was in school.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about how college was and trying to equate what college will be like for them. My thought process has been, how are they going to pull college off, knowing what I know about that?
Yeah.
Like, the schools aren't preparing them for that. So of course I'm anxious about that, and I'm like, I don't want to make a mistake.
I think
But college has changed as well.
College has changed. Cole did most of his school online this year. I think next year he'll probably do some in person. He had 1 class in person, and he did great. But what I saw him do, what I taught them to do is I had a checklist, and they chose. We had a meeting at the beginning of the week, and that I would tell them when we were going to be out of the house, and they knew they had to have everything done by Friday, because this is how business works. They had to have everything done by Friday night. If everything wasn't done by Friday night, they lost their weekend. They had to do their work during the weekend. Because on Monday it starts over. Now it was a nightmare because many times in the beginning, even in the beginning, you can't assume that they are an adult, and they were working toward the long-term goal. So what I saw with college, Cole, I went into his room one day, and he had sticky notes like me and Tasha's over here. Y'all can't see her; she's not on here yet. But sticky notes where he had his stuff plotted out, what was due when and what was next. And I was so proud of him because I taught him to do that. And that may be one of the best things I taught him besides learning how to read was I taught them to manage their time and get their stuff done. So now with my girls, we school Wednesday to Saturday. because we have stuff on Monday and Tuesday, and I just decided to switch things for us, and it works okay. We have a business meeting on Tuesday afternoon, and we go through the week and talk about who's working when's mama working, what doctor's appointments. They have their calendars, they plot things out themselves, but then they have to manage their stuff. And it's the same thing.
Like a corporation that's literally managing their own little departments.
Their little departments, and they know when I want it done. Now, it used to be Friday, now it's Saturday night. They have to get their work done because we can't start the next week if we haven't gotten our stuff done. So that's what we do. And I think it works with, even if you're in public school or in your private school, if you have that meeting so everybody touches base, and then you can move forward with what it is. And you have to expect them to flub and not get stuff done, but then they have to have consequences.
Okay with making a mistake.
It's okay to fail your kid if they do not finish that math lesson. That's okay. It's a learning thing, and that's one thing. One of my friends is a homeschool mom. She's also a university professor. She said it is okay for you to let them fail because they will not learn to succeed if they don't learn. There's a consequence.
I always took the attitude that you don't fail until you quit trying.
Yeah,
Game's
and
not
that's
over.
true. It's not over until
It's not over until it's
But
either
a lot
you finished it
of
or you
homeschool
didn't.
moms get into that mastery mindset, and they make their child never fails because they keep going. And so I think of it differently now because I've seen some success with my kids. And I stumbled. Nobody, I'm not some professor somewhere, but I'm like, it's something that I had to do for mine.
I like about the K-12 is there's multiple options to repeat a lesson if they didn't get it the first time.
That's nice.
They have 3 attempts to do it. So a failure is not a failure. There's options to correct.
That's good.
Now, when we were all in school, you got one shot, and that grade was written in the grade book. It was averaged out. I mean,
yeah.
Failure was a real daily possibility,
Yeah.
and if you get enough
So
of those
much
on you, it'll
stress.
snowball. I heard that one too.
Yeah.
Enough of it'll snowball. So those of you watching this that are thinking of it in the mind frame of it's like it was when we were school, and that could not be further from the truth. My husband has said, if I had these options when I was in school dealing with ADHD, he said I would have been far more successful far sooner.
Yeah.
So I think it's an excellent option for those with ADHD issues that dance to the beat of their own drum, that can have 20 things going on in their mind at one time and literally compartmentalize them all. I think they're superhuman. They have talents that I can't relate to, but I'm trying. I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah.
And they're not different. There's nothing wrong with them at all.
No. There's not anything wrong with us.
There's nothing wrong with them at all. It's, if I could tap into 5% of that, the things that I could get accomplished. But teaching, my focus is trying to teach her to organize and complete. Because
and that's a hard thing. I deal with that. I tend to have 10,000 tabs open and 10,000 projects and trying to get everything. Yeah, even me, that's one of my things is getting my projects completed.
Mine don't like to clean it up. So
and that's part
working
of
on it.
That is part of being complete. Yes.
Yeah. We all have our struggles and things we got to work on.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. And that's part of it is the last we've had one semester, just one semester.
Yeah.
I wish I'd had a mentor mom.
That is
that could have showed. They had an orientation, but I didn't receive that until after the fact. So I had to literally blast through and try and figure it out and do it my way.
And that would be a good thing maybe for local homeschool groups to find moms and they can say, which I know in our area we have a Facebook group for just a public school at home. And that was because there were so many questions and we needed to find a place to have it centralized so that they could get it. And just finding people say, hey, who's done this more than a year? Can I talk to you? That would be good.
Yeah, I would almost want it to be built in automatically. I think if K-12 were to hear this and are, you know,
I wonder if there's a way to suggest it. That would be, I mean, that's a good suggestion to have somebody who knows and has done it for at least a year to be able to say, hey.
I mean, it's great to have an orientation, but, you know, I think
with the mom.
With, you know, the different learning styles, that needs to be, you know, I like the mentor mom idea, and once I get a little more experience with it, I might even volunteer to be that.
So, hey, I'll help you out, and that's good. That's one of the things I love about the homeschool community. We're always so willing to help each other out.
That's something I've really, finding the resources has been a little bit of a hurdle as well, but I try to relax with that and just like, I'm going to find things, I'm going to stumble on things, and rather than working myself up and worrying about how I'm going to feel her week now, just let it happen. That's half of it, is just relax. And I had to learn it the hard way. I was not relaxed at all.
Take a deep breath.
You don't got to do it like the school does it. That is a cookie cutter. Every child's going to do the same thing. And I'm not knocking the public school system. I just discovered it does not take that much time to complete the tasks that they have, and how much time is wasted in the school day. And the
how long does it take her to finish the program?
Mine is a late riser. She's one that likes to get up right before class, and I get emails if she doesn't complete an assignment outside of the class before noon. But she's a late one. She wants to, I'm getting up, I have class at 10:30, I'm getting up at 9:45. And I'm like, trying to improve that, but she's like, well, I want to do my class and then do my work. So I kept trying to switch it back rather than just saying, okay, email. I realized she didn't do that before 12 o'clock. And I appreciate their letting me know. But she all by herself, developed the routine and the good habit. So worrying about doing it their way, it's a crutch. And just throw the crutch out the door because you don't need it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that for teenagers, most of my teens sleep 10 to 10.
They do need a lot more. So I like I said, I've learned to just chill out, Mom.
It's okay if it's not done by before lunch.
Now that we've got that kind of like, I think tackled, now we're going to start a new school year here very soon. So I'm going to get the start off now.
Are you using the same program next year? Or are you going to
As of right now, the plan is to do that. I want to see how we do with the rest of middle school and see what direction it's going to take us. Do I return to mainstream? Do we stay where we're at? Or do we adopt a more independent curriculum? I'm not ready to go back one way or the other. I'm still in the middle, and I'm going to be okay with being in the middle for right now.
Good.
And I hope she seems to enjoy it. Her dad very much likes it. And we have opportunity to do so much more with her. You know, if we wanted to travel and we had time off, okay, the computer comes with us.
That's awesome.
You know, it those basic classes, but we get to all the things that we enjoy doing and that we want to share with her. The experience comes from us. I would like to see also, you know, a way to introduce the new moms and the new homeschoolers, you know, to find the activities and the support groups and the co-op. Now I realize that the pandemic probably completely
did
ruin
close a
and
lot
mess
of
it
stuff
up.
down. This year should be a little bit more active. I'm still hearing maybe yes, maybe no with mom. The thing you have to realize is that when you do public school at home, some groups will be closed down and won't want to open after public schools. I'm not that mom. I'm kind of, the ones who know me in person know that I am not that mom. I know that I will have a co-op in fall. Y'all always welcome there.
I would love to start getting towards that. I might end up becoming brave enough to be a full-on.
I will help you be brave.
Gotta find the way.
But you can, it's the thing is curriculum is only a tool, and it's like I was telling you earlier. My sister-in-law, brother-in-law use Connections Academy in South Carolina, so I've seen how it works, and curriculum's only a tool, and if what works for you is public school at home, that's okay with me. I mean, if somebody chooses distance learning, if it's an option still in their school system, that works for me. Yeah. We're going to wrap this up because we have to take a break between appointments. But anyway, we are going to come back and talk to Tasha a little bit, and it'll probably be a different episode. But anyway, Michelle, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for being there for us as well.
It's good information because I want to know how it works, and other moms may want to too, because it's a good option. It's not a bad option.
I've really developed things that every day that I look at, and it's super quick, and it gives me a good idea without being super invasive. So a little more autonomy for her.